Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again. We've got a matchup here of my updated red-purple Luffy deck that I've actually been really enjoying. This has been just kind of like a change in the pace from the film list that we were running into something a little different, and I really like this. I really like this. It's done me a lot of good, and unfortunately there were like 3 cards that I just couldn't find in my collection of One Piece, so I had to do something a little different. But we're going up against my man Chance here. He's got the playmat. Shout out to him for getting one of the playmats, but also getting one of the serialized playmats. Got the number 24 in the top right, and he does pick up Flamenco with Izo on the first turn. And going over to turn 1 for me, having 2 Dawn, I just pass it over. It doesn't look like we picked up any of the early ramp, unfortunately. But he will swing 6, and I'll counter out with Wire. He will play the Flamenco, and now for our turn 2, unfortunately, just not having that 4-cost ramp card doesn't really give us much of a play. Like, I could have saved Wire right there and then played Wire down, but I wasn't really too worried about it. I'm not super worried about the early stage of the game so much as I am the later stage in the mid game. And he does use the Whitebeard Pirates here. I think he found, or he's looking at the cards and realizes, oh, these are only all events, so I have to find a Whitebeard character, and doesn't find one right there. But gets down a second Flamenco, and I'm like, oof, unfortunate. I'll take that first life swing though, drawing into an X-Drake. This was a bit of a weird matchup, simply because I genuinely did not draw a lot of counter power early on in the match, and that's why I was like, all right, let me get Queen down a little bit earlier than I thought, and yet again drawing into even less counter power. All we have is 2k counter X-Drake. I do pick up a Miss All Sunday here though, and I realize like Diable Jambe is not really going to be relevant in this matchup, because I think that the only blocker that I should be weary of is maybe like 4-cost Marco. I have seen some lists running the Fosa, but I don't see it as much. But yeah, this is post-ban and restriction list, so I'm not entirely sure what we could be expecting here. And we'll see a 4k, or excuse me, a 5k and a 5k at life, or no Dawn attached to leader, so just 4k. And he lowers down the Queen to get the Vista on that, and picks up a Jozu off that Izo search. Last Dawn might just go to lead, just to swing 6, but he also might just pass and leave the 1 active. He does with 3 life left, just leaving the 1 Dawn active. We finally got up to 7 though, so we can play down the useless Captain Kidd if we want to. It looks like we've drawn into a couple of counter cards. So I'm running the Sanji in the list right now because I couldn't find Khalifa. I don't know why, but I was searching for Khalifa in my collection of cards, and I just couldn't find it. So I was it was like a second before you know, I had to leave for the tournament anyways, and I said, all right, I'm just gonna throw in some Sanjis, call it a day. But we use Miss All Sunday here to ramp up a Dawn, and that brings us up to 8 using the leader ability. Gets us to that sweet spot where we can add 1 Dawn from the Dawn deck using leader ability, and I'll just go ahead and pass with 2 Dawn active. I have 2 life, feel like I'm in a solid spot. I've got 2 useless Captain Kidds and a Shanks in hand. We've got a lot of defense now. We finally drawn into some of the counter cards that we needed, because that 6k poke with Zoro can just be really annoying. Just a lot of 6k attacks coming down, and I will counter out of the first one with a Sanji. Sadly, no 1k counter to get rid of, so I'm just pitching 2ks to get out of some of these attacks. If he goes 6 again, it looks like we're just going to be losing another, sadly, losing another 2k counter. But he's going to attach 2 to Zoro, and, well, 3 since he already had 1, and go for the 8k swing. I'll use guard point to get out of this one, and he will rest 4 playing the Marco. So now playing Marco, I'm like, oh, shoot. Diable Jambe could have been cool to keep. I wasn't really considering it. And funny enough, I actually just traded him that Alt-Art Marco. So he and I had, yeah, we were just looking over each other's trades, and we was like, oh, okay, yeah, you want to pick that up? But with 10 Dawn active, I will just go 7 to life. I don't really see a reason to go for Vista on board. There's not really anything that I want to be doing other than just going for life here. He will pitch, I believe, a Jozu to protect the Marco on the revive. And I'll do the Dawn -1 with Eustace Captain Kidd going up to 7 here. I'll attach another one. I'll go 8 to life. I could go into the Marco again, but I would imagine he just revives it, and I'd rather get him into a position where I can get him, you know, in a KO range. I do think that Miss All Sunday is just going to die next turn. That's fine, though. We're okay with that. We got him down to 1 life, and then I'll use Leader ability to reactivate the 1. I believe that we have Ulti Mortar in hand. Ulti Mortar is super nice once you're up to 10 Dawn. I mean, you can still use it at 9, but 10 Dawn is that sweet spot where it's like Ulti Mortar, just love the value of the card. And with us being at 7, it does make it a little bit inconvenient for him to swing into because he'll have to attach an extra Dawn. Blamenco might just see a real quick swing of like 5k into Miss All Sunday, lowering her down to 3. Yep. So Miss All Sunday is just going to go here. I don't really feel like protecting the card. It would be great, obviously, to have the 1 extra... oh, he realized right here. He was like, oh, why am I swinging 5? You're 7. And I was just laughing because, you know, we're just playing for fun. We're having a good time. And, you know, Chance and I were just joking around, trying out some different things. You know, and there were games where we were like, oh, let me try out this line. And if it doesn't work, let me try out another line with the same board state, just to see what would be best in this situation. But he's going to rest 3 for Zoro here. Being at 6k, could attach 1, bring it up to 7, but attaches 3 to go 9k to life. I do think that we could just take this if we wanted to, or I could use the Ulti Mortar, but I like to use the Ulti Mortar when I see like a 6k swing to life. So I'll just go ahead and take this one, and now we'll see a 7, and I will just go, yeah, -2 for the Ulti Mortar, going up 2k, and I get to draw a card, and we draw some absolute heat right here. Love to see it. This combination is so good if you have like a guard point or another Ulti Mortar in hand. You end up having like 10 cost Luffy, and you can play that while having Kid on board, and -1 with the Kid ramping back up with leader ability gives us the +1, or the 1 active Dawn, excuse me. But I will go 8k, and I was telling him now that Luffy is on board, if you do block, it will KO. And the Luffy card doesn't read only when Luffy's attacking. It's once per turn once it's on the board. So regardless of whether he chooses to block with this Marco or not, yeah, it's gonna get going. And now he chooses to pivot then and radical beams out of the 8k swing. We have leader up to 7. We'll still be able to use the leader ability to get that 1 Dawn active back. Not that it's super relevant at the time, because I don't think I have an event in hand, but it could be because of my last life. And 7k to life does get 2k counters out of hand. And then I'll go 11k to Zoro. I choose not to go life here just because, I don't know, I thought that it would be the better play, considering you know, he would have the Zoro swing, and I knew that he would take the life for free. But in hindsight, it actually might have been the better play because of how this next turn kind of plays out. I remember that I didn't really respect the Blamencos a lot. You know, just with them being able to subtract 2k each onto a character is pretty annoying. And I do more than likely need 3 swings to get through that that Marco and that last life, now that I chose not to go for life. Yeah, so situational awareness wasn't at an all-time high in this moment, but we do have a lot of counter power, so I think I just felt really confident that I could counter out of any attack that he's going for, whether that happens to be at board or whether that happens to be at face. And he is going to go for the Luffy here. Oh, I think this was actually where he decided. He was like, you know what, let me test the line. And I was like, yeah, if you do that, then the rest of your board can't attack, and I think you just lose. And so he did pivot right there. He does pivot. And he's going to put 1 onto leader, bring in everything up plus 1k. And I would imagine we're just going to see some flamenco action happening here. But Marco is the first kind of deep swing. This is going to be a 7k at lead. I think we only have 2k counters in hand. Actually, we have the queen. So we could counter out with the queen, but I think I chose to save it just in case. But realistically, we're going for game next turn, so it's not really all that important to be keeping that in hand. And he will go 7 to life, lowering down the useless Captain Kid to 6. I choose to take this because no matter what, even if he has a... why am I forgetting the name of it? Even if he has a fiery doll in hand, we're still safe. But he will do the minus 2k onto useless Captain Kid, swinging 5 into it here. I do choose to 2k counter out. And now, I believe he does use Fiery Doll, yeah, to bring leader up to 10k. And swing 10 into the 4,000 power useless Captain Kid. So I definitely didn't respect the flamencos as much. Luckily, though, I do have a lot of counter power in hand. I just, I had this sweet idea of next turn playing Otama and then playing 9-cost Shanks, using Eustace Captain Kid to swing -1, bring 1 back, use Otama again on Marco, and then swinging 9 through the Marco for game, or 10 through the Marco for game. It was a silly play, but I just kind of wanted to do it. But I do choose to just counter out of the Eustace Captain Kid, and unfortunately having to trash both of those Otamas. And yeah, 1 life left. Not super scary, but it could be in this situation, depending on if he potentially got like a what is it, a fiery doll out of life. Could have subtracted 10k power to a character, but he does block with the Marco, and then we'll just go 10k for the game. Solid match. I think that the high-end cards in this list really just make it, and having the counter power as well as the blockers to get out of certain situations are really, really nice. The deck list for this will be down below, but I'll probably just be making a video on the thoughts of the deck all around, because as much as I liked the film list and I thought it was very fun, I really like this list a little bit more. It seems a little more well-rounded. You don't have to see the ramp. It's just the ramp enables you to have a way better mid-game. Like, you can definitely still survive without some of the ramp cards, but it's one of those things that if you do see it, oh man, it's beautiful. But let me know your thoughts, guys, and I'll catch y'all in the next one, all right? Peace.